Google just dropped the most advanced video AI system on the planet. It is unimaginably good. It is creating Hollywood-level movies where people can speak, have inflection in their voice, expression in their face, and I'm going to show you what it is right now. Let's take a look at some of the samples they released.
This ocean, it's a force, a wild, untamed might. And she commands your awe with every breaking light.
The microfilm is in your ticket.
They're watching the north exit. Use the service tunnel.
Look at this. This looks like it's a movie.
According to this old sea chart, the Lost Island isn't myth. We must prepare an expedition immediately.
This was one of the things AI was missing, the ability for characters to speak and speak well with inflection. It used to be so monotone, right? This is a game changer. So looking at this, you may think, wow, that's pretty cool. Maybe that's going to disrupt Hollywood, right? But I think it's going to go way further than that. We're reaching a point where AI is indistinguishable from reality. You can't trust what you see on the screen anymore. We already were living in a world of misinformation all over the place, coming at you from every angle. Now the misinformation can be so good and so compelling that you can't believe your own eyes. And I think that's a problem, not just for society, but for business in general. This is going to disrupt so many different industries, obviously, but it's also going to disrupt how we interact online. I'm going to tell you a couple things I think are coming down the pipeline here. Number one is we are entering sort of this trust recession that's going to get worse and worse and worse. When you can't believe anything you see or hear, you're going to be naturally more and more skeptical. So I think one thing that will happen is in-person meetings will become much more valuable just for the mere fact that you're not gonna be able to trust what you see on the screen. That's a real security issue for companies all over the world. Number two, I think what we're going to consume on a daily basis is going to radically be transformed. It already is. If you're scrolling your feed on any social media account, you're probably starting to see things that you never saw before. Things that are fantastical, ridiculous. However, most of those were still identifiable as AI, although it's gotten better in the past few months. We're reaching a point when you won't know the difference. So what does that mean for your marketing? How do you market in this crowded environment where the barrier to entry is so low and people create things just by basically thinking about it or typing it out? I think it all comes down to something that I believe in wholeheartedly. People do business where they know, like, and trust. So building trust with prospects is going to be paramount. You must do this in business, I believe, and even more so in the future, because now no one's going to know who to trust. So the question is, which mechanism are you going to be able to use? I honestly believe that in-person events, networking groups, trade shows are going to make a massive comeback as one of the primary methodologies for generating business, for the number one reason is that they build that rapport and they build the know, like, and trust. At least you can trust, at least for now, what you see in reality, in real life. So I think that's one thing that's going to really happen. Number two, you're going to need to engineer a strategy that's designed to build trust with prospects, build relationships with your clients, because otherwise they're going to be bombarded with all this AI stuff. And trust me, it's going to get so good and so compelling that it's going to be hard to beat it, in all honesty. Now, a couple years ago when AI started getting so good, we had the idea that we really need to figure out a trust building mechanism. And what we landed on is kind of out of the box, but what we do is we personalize physical gifts and we mail them to our prospects, right? We'll put the prospect's logo on an item like a set of golf balls, for example, something like I have here. We'll put the prospect's name or logo on a water bottle, on a wine tumbler, on a number of other items, because this builds that instant rapport, pulls down that wall of skepticism, and creates the know, like, and trust factor before we ever even talk to them. And I think things like this are going to start to become some of the most important methodologies for generating new business because it creates that relationship, right? It starts off on the right foot. When you get this in your hand, you're going to know it's a real item, right? It really came to you. And a real person likely sent it to you, and you're going to be able to have a conversation with them. So in a world of AI, building human relationships, I think is going to be one of the most important things. If you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, we're designed to live in communities, right? We want to build relationships with people. One of the worst punishments that exists, right? If you're in prison, you go to solitary confinement, being away from people. It's pretty wild that that is so innate in our DNA, right? We have to be around people. We have to build relationships. It's one of the most important things. So creating a marketing strategy around building relationships, I think, is going to be the future of online marketing, which sounds bizarre because, of course, there's also going to be so many incredible things you can do with AI in terms of making yourself more efficient, prospecting, doing prospect research, gathering data, all that stuff's absolutely true. But it's going to be what you do next that matters most, because everybody's going to have access to these tools. So getting data faster or being able to find someone's email address or send 100 messages on LinkedIn isn't going to matter as much when everybody can do it, right? It's just the barrier to entry. Learning to build relationships with these people, I think, is going to become one of the most important things. Now, sending physical gifts to someone probably sounds like a lot of work, and it honestly used to be for us when we did it, but we built a methodology to streamline the entire process where we can gather information very rapidly using things like AI and have it sent to a 3PL where each one is automatically customized and sent to the prospects along with a handwritten note. This is converting like wildfire for us because nobody's doing it, and it builds trust at scale. Right? It's a scalable way to start relationships and build trust. And if you want to see how we do that, you can check out the linked video below. I'll walk through exactly how the methodology works and the system we set up in case you want to implement it inside of your business. But either way, I hope that in 2025 and beyond, you try to deploy a strategy and create a strategy that's focused on building trust, knowing that we're about to lose a massive amount of trust online. So figuring that out now is paramount, and I think it's something that's worth everybody's time. I hope this video was helpful for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.